Oh, hi, everyone. This is Dr. Knowles. I just wanted to check in with everyone and say hi. And also, I wanted to compliment you all for completing your assignments on time, and you're all doing very well. I know that it can be easy to forget in online class. I know this from experience because I too have been an online student as well as an online instructor, and I have to have deadlines and goals for the things that I need to complete as well as do all the other things that I do in my life, just like you do. By now, you know that all your assignments are due no later than 10 p.m. each Sunday. And as a reminder, you can complete those assignments any day of the week or time prior to that drop dead time of 10 p.m. each Sunday, right? So try to figure out what works best for you and don't wait till 9:55. You've probably, or if you haven't, I hope you haven't realized this yet, but the way that Moodle is set up, at 10 p.m. it closes you out. So please don't think that, oh, if I sign in by 9:55, I can just keep taking that quiz and take the time that I need or whatever is allotted for the quiz that particular week. So schedule that into your time frame for taking your quizzes. So let's see. In last Sunday's letter, I mentioned that next week, in week 5, you will have your first of 2 proctored exams. The exam will be over part 1 of our textbook, which is the first 3 chapters. So that's on the concepts of medical terminology, prefixes, suffixes, body structures, disease, and treatment. This week, you'll finish chapter 3, which is disease and treatment. When you're finished with chapter 3, you can actually move on, whatever that is, even if you want to do it now, before you finish chapter 3, if you're anxious, you can go ahead into week 5 because I've opened it up for you. The only thing that's closed out is to take the actual proctored exam. And what I've done is I've created a practice exam for you, just like the actual exam. The questions are pulled from the test bank, just like the exam. The only thing that's different is you don't need to use the proctored Respondus lockdown browser. But you're free to take that practice exam, has 100 questions. You can take it as many times as you like. And the highest grade will always stay in the gradebook. It's a no-lose situation. It doesn't hurt you in any way to do that, and actually gives you an opportunity to practice prefixes and suffixes and all the other kinds of terms that were assigned during those first 3 chapters. Okay, so I highly suggest you give that a try whenever you're ready to do that. In past semesters, I've actually used this as my midterm exam. So what's going to happen is this semester, there'll be no midterm. This is actually kind of like your midterm exam. Then after that, the only other exam that will be proctored will be your final exam at the end of the course. And we can talk about that later. So I also want to remind you that you need to have that Respondus lockdown browser downloaded on your computer. And for majority of you, you've already taken that Respondus exam quiz that I had set up for you. If you've done that, you're ready to go for this proctored exam as far as that lockdown browser, okay? So you don't need to worry about that anymore, unless you're not going to use that computer, if you're using a different computer than what you took that quiz on, or if you haven't done it yet. And there's only just a couple people that haven't done that yet. So I highly recommend that those folks take that quiz, okay? There's no practice needed. It's pretty easy. You don't, it's mostly, the whole reason for taking it is to make sure that you have downloaded the browser and that it is working for you, because I don't want you to wait. I've learned this over the last many semesters that I've taught this course, that those students that haven't downloaded that browser until it's right time to take the exam, all the stress of doing that downloading interferes with the stress you have for just taking a proctored exam. Okay, and remember, when you do take a proctored exam, you can't use any books or notes or anything like that. And it will take a video of you as you take your exam, and it will flag it. And I do review those, just spot checking. So just know that someone's going to be reviewing that, and that'll be me. Okay, so if you don't want to do that and you just think, I need to go to the testing center, I don't want to take it, or something's happened to your computer, whatever the reason is, you're free to go to the testing center. But remember that you need to make your own appointment for the testing center. And the testing center is only open Monday through Friday. So you've got to have it done before Friday of the end of next week. Not this week, next week. Okay, so keep that in mind. Next thing I want to compliment you on is the playing of the Kahoots games. Keep doing that. Talk about your experiences and share your study tips, like a few of you have been doing, and that's great. Work together. What works for you might work for somebody else, or it doesn't work for someone else. Keep making those flashcards. Some people say flashcards don't work for them. They'd rather just write them down. That's fine. That's the same kind of idea as the flashcards. So whatever works for you, that's the reason for taking that little survey at the beginning of the course, to find out, well, how do you learn best? What works for you? What works for you to remember things? Sometimes it's pictures. Sometimes it's graphs. Sometimes it's sounds. Sometimes, what works is stories. So those of you that have had an experience with a particular term, share that experience, because other students that read that say, hey, that makes sense now about that disease process, that term, and you remember that story, and it helps you to remember that for future exams, as well as when you're in practice working and you hear that term, you go, oh, I've heard that term before, and this is what I remember about that term. And that's what experience does for us. So keep using those Kahoot games and talking about it in the forum. I really appreciate that. For those of you that like to use Quizlet, keep using those. Share your Quizlet links with your classmates if you're willing to. And if you work together, you don't have to make all of them. Make some, share your links, and maybe somebody will make another one and they can share their link, and you can use that as a study tool among yourselves. Last semester, one of my students recommended CRAM, C-R-A-M. I put that in the letter last week for you, or on Sunday of this week. And I looked it up, and I went ahead and you can clone someone else's list of terms, which is what I did. That looked like a lot of the terms that you're studying now, and I gave you the link to that in last week's letter. So look that up, and you can, free of charge, go in there, and it's a flashcard app. Then if you use your phone when you're sitting waiting for an appointment or riding a bus or whatever you might be doing, you can use that to quickly remind yourself of some of the terms. Let's look ahead as we move in past week 5, past the exam. You'll be moving into week 6, which is part 2 of the textbook. Now you're going to find that each of the chapters are going to be on a system. And for the most part, you won't have any more prefixes and suffixes. But I have to admit that I looked ahead when I was looking in the textbook. And when we get to chapter 8, which is over special senses, there are some suffixes, a few more suffixes there in chapter 8. So sorry, there will be a few more. But for the most part, you've had all of the ones that this textbook is going to require you to know or learn. So that's about all for now. If you have any questions or issues that come up for the remainder of the semester, please reach out to me via email or text, or if you really need to call me, you can do that. I have my phone turned off around 10 p.m. and it doesn't come back on again until I think about 8 o'clock in the morning. So please don't call or text me or expect an answer after 10 o'clock at night or before about 8 o'clock in the morning. I wish you the best for the remaining weeks of the semester, and reach out to me again if you need anything. Thanks. Bye.